And good morning. I'm the Fort Worth Playboy, and this is the Fort Worth Playboy Morning Show. And we still made it into the AM, at least here in Central Standard Time. And I'm glad you're here. Thank you for hanging out with me. What do we cover on Fort Worth Playboy's Morning Show? We cover game, pickup, relationships, and sex. Um, we will have a larger show on sex this Saturday when Bunny's here, and that is the we in what we bring you is my Playboys Bunny and myself um, as a team to make you better, whether it be moving girls that are strangers to in your bed and naked, or reigniting the romance in a 20 or 30-year marriage that is Bunny's real specialty is reigniting that sexual light, and it keeps people together. And we always start off with a maxim. And good morning, Matt. And I'm going to have to one day figure out what you guys do for a living that are always aware of when I jump on here, because there's a few, and I always find it interesting that you guys are aware, like whatever time of the day it is. Maxim number 49: romance isn't foreplay. Romance is, at best, seasoning on an established sexual relationship. Remember the formula in the real world: it's sex first, then relationship, maybe. Sex has to come first. And you always see girls get this messed up, especially if they've been pumped and dumped. They start wanting to front load, at least in theory, the romance or the establishment of a relationship or commitment. And none of that can be established without some interpersonal chemistry and sex happening first. All serious relationships start as casual sex. If you look at every serious marriage, every long-term relationship, anything that's lasted decades or how did you, well, we hooked up at a party, and then, I thought she was interesting, so I kept going out with her. Or I met her online, and, I had to take her out 2 or 3 times, and then we started banging. And then I just like being around her. So we just, at about 12 weeks, she goes, "What are we?" And I go, "Well, let's just be boyfriend, girlfriend." That's always the story. When you start really asking, you'll see consistency with this, that it's sex first, then relationship. And romance, the cards, the flowers, sprinkle it in randomly and rarely, or I think it might be liberally, like very unpredictable. Girls, even the best girls that really do appreciate your efforts, will become used to it, not bored, but maybe not as appreciative as they should be when it becomes expected. So when you do the gift giving, and I always tell guys, test it out. I mean, you can always start off with like a handwritten card, or write a dirty poem on a napkin and give it to her. Test her reaction, and then you can kind of grow from there. Again, you want her chasing you, because that's where girls are happiest, when they're pursuing men, and the men are either unaware or actually running in the opposite direction, but begrudgingly giving a little bit of their attention to her. That's when girls are happiest, when they're chasing high value men, or a high value man that she feels is attainable. But for your side, most guys, at least in our little realm, tend to have the asshole streak pretty strong, and that romance tends to balance it out. You want to do that 80-20, even maybe 90-10, but about 10% of it you need to be somewhat romantic. A little bit of beta goes a long way, is how I should say it. Again, because girls, it kind of throws them off. There's too much. They go, "Well, I don't know if he's really the guy that I thought he was." So don't get yourself in trouble. And guys are natural and inclined to, they're the real romantics. Girls are, they're very practical. They're like, can this guy afford me? Can he afford kids? Is he going to be around? Is he healthy? I mean, they're like mercenaries about it. And they have to be, because so much rides on the man that they choose. So that's the real deal. On maxim number 49, romance isn't foreplay. Romance is at best seasoning on an established sexual relationship. And again, it can be, I always say be cautious and have rules as far as like fuck buddies or friends with benefits. I mean, these girls are for sex and fun only. You start doing the romantic stuff with them and it really confuses them. And then a confused girl, and you don't make any commitment, or you don't start moving her to like a girlfriend candidate, she's going to get mad and quit. And that's all there is to it. So always know that, girlfriend candidates, girls that you already have an established exclusive relationship with, that's the real deal. Let's see, Bakes Online. Let's see what you got, buddy. Fort Worth, would you, let's see if okay. Would you agree a man's dating life is basically entrepreneurship? He has to go out and make things happen for himself, creating his luck by saying hello to every attractive woman he sees. Yes, it's very much, women are passive, men are active. You have to actually like make things happen. And when you kind of get good at that, and the reason I even noticed this was Bunny said, hey, it's a damn good analogy. Yes, you're going to have more interactions and more success with women when you make things. You have to. And I think that's one of the weird things is guys that kind of like know what's going on, and they're getting an idea of like how things work when it comes to men and women. They still are looking for signs, or they're waiting for her. I mean, and almost every guy that kind of gets this looks back and they go, shit, I missed that. Indicators of interest. They're like, yeah, man, she was rubbing my arm. She kept talking to me. She sat right next to me. And they keep waiting, I guess, for her to kiss them or something. They're always waiting for the next thing, and then they miss out. So yes, and you will be surprised. And this is what I've noticed from men who, are veterans and ran through a lot of women over the years. I'd say, what do you regret most? And they say, I should have taken more action more often. Because once you kind of realize how this works and you've got a system, you can plug and play. I mean, a girl might decline. No, okay, I got a boyfriend, or, you're not the right type of guy for her, and that's okay too. But generally, you're closing a lot of girls, and then you're just like out of control because you realize how easy it is. It's a very hard thing to sell to people that have never actually had fast sex or noticed how easy it is to bring women into their lives. But once you do, you go, oh, okay, you start hearing the same things. And this is where you get guys that are kind of jaded. They're like, all girls are the same. You really do see a lot of the same things all the time. But yes, you have to make things happen. Because again, remember, for a girl, sex has to just happen. Everything has to have just happened. We went to dinner, and then he asked me to come over and see his art collection, and it just happened. Even though you had to plan out the entire date, get her to dinner, take her to drinks. Hey, you want to come up and see my art collection? Take her up to your art collection, and then close the deal. But to her, it just happened. Just all of a sudden, she had no panties on, and her knees were up around her ears. It just happened. And that's how girls have to see sex. So you have to make it happen. But that's a very good point. And I think it's actually one of the tweets in here. But yes, I do appreciate you jumping in. And that's absolutely how things happen. Okay. All sex begins with hello or hi. All sexual encounters begin with a casual introduction. Hi, what's up? Hey, my name is, where's this? Or did you see that fight outside? If you want to have sex with more girls, you have to speak to more girls. And basically what I recognized is that, on the end, guys want to have more sex with more women, or maybe higher quality women, or hotter women, or more tall women. Who knows? But how do you make that happen? Well, you got to go all the way back to the beginning. And where does all sexual encounters begin? It begins with you introducing yourself to a girl, be it online, or at the gym, or walking down the street, or at the supermarket. Because without that, they're not just going to walk up and knock on your door unless you're paying. Other than that, it has to be initiated by you, by introducing yourself. So the more girls you come in contact and you have a system of moving them to sex, the more sex you're going to have. And if you're like really struggling and you're like, man, I want to meet more women, but you're not actually saying hello to any, then that's your own fault. And if you want to meet more women, you have to actually say hello to more women, no matter where you're at. And they're everywhere. And the weird thing is that once you start doing this, unless you live in the middle of fucking nowhere and work on an oil rig, you're going to start seeing more attractive women come into your life because you're looking for them. You're more aware of their presence. You catch them, and you catch their eye too. But again, if you want to have more sex and you've got a system down, or you're developing a system, you have to start by putting yourself in front of more girls, because that's where it all begins. All of it ends with sex, but it all begins with an introduction. You got to introduce yourself. Otherwise, nothing will ever happen. They just move on and they fuck the same dude, or, their brother's best friend, or, their dad's buddy, who knows, a coach, but not you. But the point is, if you put yourself in front of her, she's fucking someone, might as well be you. Like Bunny says, all girls love being folded into a pretzel. That's right. Next slide. A phone is not really a phone to girls. It's really this box of dicks that it's a reminder to her. It's not a phone. It's a box of dicks, a box that she can reach into at any time and pull out a new dick anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's one of the reasons they always have it in their hand and they're always on it. It's their lifeline to new dicks for most girls. Bunny will, of course, moms are busy. They're chasing kids, but for your standard issue, single girl, it's a box of dicks. And there's orbiters in there. There's lurkers. There's ex-boyfriends. There's ex hookups. Everything she could ever want is in there. And to her, that's what it can be. It's a box of dicks and nothing more. You have to recognize that. And again, if a girl asks you for exclusivity, and I get all kinds of pushback on this sometimes, you're like, and you say, yeah, okay, I think this will work. We need to do this. You need to have access to her phone, and she needs to have access to your phone. It's a two-way street. And it's not so much to, give her a chance. She needs to get rid of stuff, get rid of it. But if you're giving up your freedom, your exclusivity, you need some assurance. And again, it's not to catch her doing something. It's to prevent stupid shit from happening. Generally, it will cause her to think twice. Should I respond to this guy's DM? Should I respond to this? Should I answer that call? Should I be texting this dude? If my ex texts me, do I need to tell my boyfriend? It's that sort of thing. Generally, it prevents stupid shit from happening. Now, stupid shit's still going to happen, but these knuckleheads that go, oh, she'll just get a second phone. you're thinking of yourself. You're thinking of your own deceptive habits, your own wants. Girls don't go with two phones. If they do, you should have ferreted the type of girl out ahead of time, and that's your own mistake. You should have just kept her as a fuck buddy. But at the end of the day, if they want exclusivity, you need access to that phone. And again, it's not to catch her fucking around. It's to prevent any stupid decisions on either of your parts down the road. And it does tend to have a very dampening effect on infidelity. It just seems to work really well. And that's the real deal. Reminder to her, it's not a phone. It's a box of dicks, a box she can reach into at any time, pull out a new dick anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Next slide. Let's see if we can find something interesting. Okay, we need a break. This has nothing to do with you. Girls make bad decisions every day. Most often, it's simply because she wants to sample a greater variety of cock. And this is one of those unspoken, most guys will never realize this. And in this case, it's I'm 23, male, and out of the blue, broken up by my girlfriend who's 22, female, for 3 years, for her desire for promiscuity. You're not normally going to see that. She's going to say, hey, I want to, see other people, or I'm unhappy with something you did, and she'll give you some flimsy excuse, or she'll pick a fight with you, or she'll, say, hey, I think I'm going to go away to college next year, and then she'll start dampening. She'll give it a reason, and most of the time they'll try to turn it on you. That's not the important thing. The important thing has nothing to do with you. She just wants to be able to sample a greater variety of dick. And that's more often a driver for girls breaking up with a guy than nearly anything else. So, like he says, hi, I'm 23, recently dumped by my girlfriend with the reason cited that she wanted to be more promiscuous, be young. We were together for 3 years and definitely in love. So she was like 19 to 22. Those are big years. I'm struggling to put this through my brain for some reason. Can anyone help explain her thought process to me, please? I feel really worthless to have been so abruptly dumped for what I interpret as casual sex. Yeah, she wants to have more casual sex with more men. Having this advice consolation would really help me to make peace with what happened. She's a girl being a girl. Too long didn't read. I just can't understand how this could occur so abruptly and for such a reason. She's already been thinking about this probably for the last year to 6 months. Would anyone please mind helping me through this and understand? And that this is a normal, especially for girls under like 25 or 30, they just want to have fun. And they can't necessarily have fun, especially if you know all of her girlfriends and are locked in and, are friends with her parents and are a part of her life. She can't really get away from you. And if she just wants to have fun, which means, having a lot of casual sex with a lot of guys, which is not unusual, she's going to break up. And it's just part of the game. Normally, again, it has nothing to do with you. You're a great guy, just bad timing. Bad timing. Maybe if you had met each other later in life, after she'd ran through, 50 or 100 men. Who knows? But the thing is that you cannot blame yourself or look for it. And guys spend years wondering what happened when it had absolutely nothing to do. She changed her mind. And then, of course, you have to deal with the fallout, and there's nothing you can do about it. But this is as normal as the sun coming up. So you have to recognize that. And a lot of guys are like, I was a good boy. Yeah, you're a great boyfriend. You're a great boyfriend for her. She just wanted to sample more dudes because it's what she wanted to do. And you're in the way. So that it's a harsh reality, but it's very common. It helps her save her from herself and her own mistakes. And that's from Bunny. And it's rough for a lot of guys, especially younger guys, like under 35, 30. They're like, what happened? And I don't think you find divorce being driven by this as often. Maybe, but it's not in my wheelhouse, or it's not something that has come across my desk. But when you're younger and we're talking about just, relationships, yeah, girls will break out because they just want to have fun. Just always keep that in mind. No matter what, no matter how good you are, they may just change their mind tomorrow because they just want to have fun today. A lot of guys shit on online dating. You need to think of online dating as a factory assembly line. You're not there to write the next great novel or fiction, or to look at their profile and find something interesting about them. You need to think of it as an assembly line. You're going to go through thousands of women online. Same opener, find one or two good openers and just beat them to death. Steal from the players like from me, steal from 007. Anybody that posts any of their good openers, steal them. And people go, oh, she probably saw. No, nobody's looking at our shit. We're a teeny tiny population. No one knows what we do. Same opener, same 2 to 4 questions of lines or banner, kind of get her talking, and then get her off the app. Get her off the app, set a time and a date, meet up, close the deal, 1 or 2 dates. That's how you work online dating. If men try to wing it with each girl, they get unpredictable results and hate online dating. There's a reason. But again, on the front end, you got your meet, your first date, second date, and your closing. You should be closing on the first or second date. But how or when you meet girls, whether you get their number at the gym, or you get it from them at school, or you get it from them off of online dating, this is all the same. It's the same girls. The same girl that's at the grocery store or at church or at the library, she's also online. And she's also dating on Hinge and Bumble and every other app. It's the same girls. You just happen to meet her online as opposed to approaching her at the library. It's no different because on your first date, it's all the same. It all equals out on that first date when she meets up with you. And do not waste time. That's one of the number 2 things with OLD which is online dating, is you're not dating them online. You're simply meeting them online and then moving them in front of you. Girls are stronger online and in direct messaging and on text. Guys are stronger in person. So you want to get her in front of you as fast as possible. Time kills deals. And you see the really good guys, they've got her in front of them within 3 or 4 days, maybe 2 or 3 days. But the more you want to start picking more yes girls. Oh, the girls that are resistant to meeting up, block them. Girls that won't give you their number, block them. You're not there to convince maybes or no girls to meet up with you. You want girls that are motivated and fun and are interested in you. And you run enough girls and you have enough openers, questions, practice, you'll get them. You want girls that are enthusiastic about meeting up with you. And then when they meet up with you, it gets much easier. Very rarely, as long as she's saying yes, they may not appear to be that enthusiastic, but if she's saying yes and actually shows up, she's motivated to be there. That's the real deal. So with OLD, each girl is not that unique. You need a system to plug and play. And once you've been doing this for a while, like a few months, then you can kind of know when to call on audible and make a variation. But generally stick with your plan, because every guy I know that goes, yeah, I knew not to do that and I did it anyways, and it bites them in the ass. But you want to get them offline, just like if you meet her at the gym, you want to get her out to drinks. If you meet her at the church, you want to get her out to drinks. If you meet her online, you want to get her out for drinks. It's all the same as soon as you go out on that first date. So where you source the girl is irrelevant. It's the same girls. And that's a real deal with online dating. Last slide, which I'll probably need to expand on this. hold on, I'm not sure what he's talking about taking a lot of time. Okay, what do you think of Milson Cougars? Or we need to just do, Matt, you seem, one, if you're that interested, you should do a call, but we should do just a section. Bunny and I should do a short segment on that. And that may be something Saturday we can do, because you're not the only person that's asked about Milson Cougars. But that's a topic worthy of 15, 20 minutes and to do it right. So we'll get into that. As far as the OLD training or online dating, it takes maybe 2 to 5 minutes a day once you get this thing down. It's like a factory. It's like an assembly line. So you check your phone once or twice a day and then just respond. Next slide. People falsely believe that meeting girls for hookups is fundamentally different than meeting girls for marriage. It's not. All long-term relationships and marriages start off as casual sex. The exact same skills used to pick up a different slut 5 nights a week are the exact same skills used to find a wife of 30 years. The beginning is always the same, only the outcomes shall be different. And it's the beginning. It's just like you have sex with a girl once or 500 times. It all started with you introducing yourself to her at the gym. It all starts with hello. And the same thing is with marriage and serious long-term relationships. It's the same people. And the beginning is always you meet, you have a little bit of chemistry, you decide you're interesting enough to meet up, you have sex because it's interesting enough, be it on the first or the second or the third date, and then it starts moving forward. She might be okay with it being just casual and you guys kind of feeling it out for 8 or 10 or 12 weeks. But at some point she'll say, hey, what are we? And then you make a decision. I don't want to see anybody else. And she doesn't want to see anybody else. And then now you're together. And then the process of dating and engagement and wedding and kids and houses and shit like that down the road. But it all starts the same way. Some women think that the pickup process, and I think some men think this too, is different. It's not. They think it's fundamentally different, and it's actually not. In the beginning, it's all the same. That's why guys that are pickup artists, they're very good at pickup. They're able to focus in, but you got to realize that they enjoy the pickup process. A lot of them are not that interested in the sex part at the end of the day. And that's also why you see a lot of these pickup artists will be like married and still coaching this stuff, because it's the process of like meeting a girl on the street and then getting her to the next. That's their thing. That's the exciting part to them, is to get her from the street to the first meetup. That's what they love doing. And then where you go from the meetup is completely up to you. It's kind of like catch and release. They catch them and release. But the process of moving a girl from a complete stranger to in your bed, it's after they're in your bed that you have to kind of decide, what do I want to do with this girl? Are you guys going to track towards just being casual, just see if it might be interesting enough for a relationship? Or is she like adamant about, is she, I'm losing my mind over this girl and I want to be around her all the time? That's completely up to you. But again, the front end is always the same. So just know that people fundamentally believe that it's fundamentally different. It's the same. The beginning is always the same, all the way down to, hey, how's it going? Tell her your name. And then you go from there. Then you get her out. Then you meet up. Then you move to sex. It's the same process every time. It never varies. So that's the real deal. Man, I hit 30 minutes right on the nose. Bunny says, Mills, Cougars and dating younger. Oh my, this should be interesting. And we will address that. That way we don't have to ask the question 10 times a day in different forms. If you guys like this, like it, share it. comment below if you like what you're seeing and would like to purchase a product like Bunny's Fuck Like a Porn Star series. You can find that at myplayboysbunny.gumroad.com. Any of my products, including Asshole Game, Chicks Love Jerks, Chicks Dig Jerks, you can find that at fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com. And gentlemen, I appreciate your time today, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Have a great day.